Okay, so in the past videos we've been talking about, this is Todd Corser again, attorney here in Michigan. I do a lot of work resolving issues with the Internal Revenue Service for clients. And we've talked about some various issues related to the Internal Revenue Service, different processes. And we're going to obviously load these up to YouTube to allow people just a greater understanding, at least from my experience, of how to address the Internal Revenue Service. I'm just going to do a few more today. We'll move on from there, but we're dealing with collections. Now, this is different than the idea of audit. We're past audit. We're past the idea that there's an amount owed, and you either owe it at that point when collection starts coming around. We're talking about collections. It can be sort of this electronic net that is sort of cast over everything in our society now, and they simply come at you electronically, and we're dealing with the idea of bank accounts. They just put a lien or levy on your bank accounts or your other financial accounts, brokerage accounts and that sort of thing, and essentially just take the assets. And so the Internal Revenue Service has the ability to be able to do that. They also have the ability to step in and garnish your wages. So garnishing wages, these are terrifying steps that people deal with. Past that, obviously, we're dealing with the idea of leaning property, and leaning property is mainly if there's real estate holdings, a house, that sort of thing. They can just put a lien at the Register of Deeds and protect the government's interest. And then there's obviously taking of personal property, and the IRS doesn't generally they're not terribly interested in collecting on personal property, whether they be vehicles and that sort of thing. They just don't have any interest in pursuing that. But I think in rare situations you can see that happen where the person has some significant assets that are more mobile, things that aren't that isn't ground, and Internal Revenue Service will certainly go after those. So in the collections process, you're dealing with that. They can just very, very quickly file a few pieces of paper here, there, and otherwise. And what happens is, to get to the collections process, it's because a whole series of procedural steps have happened. So they've gone through this step, sent you this letter, sent you that letter, sent you that letter, and essentially it's through this regulatory process where you've dealt with the pieces and parts of what's called due process. And we'll talk about this a little bit more in the next video. My name is Todd Corser, and I want to urge you to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also to visit corserlaw.com.